Hello everyone, Resonance here, and today I'll be giving you all my commentary on Game 36, out of 36 total games played between the top two teams, TyRanT Legends and TyRanT Warlords. This match was the last game of the Grand Finals in the War is Coming tournament that is being hosted on the Voobly client. You can find detailed information on how the Grand Finals are structured in the video description below, as well as links to download the replays on AOC Zone. I will also have links to watch other War is Coming matches and or other expert games with my commentary in the video description as well. And as always, feel free to let me know if you enjoyed this video, and I'd love to have you at my weekly Twitch TV live streams as well. Alright, so without further ado, let's jump straight into Game 36, which will be a 1v1 on the standard map Arabia. Now, before I describe the map, I am going to take a brief moment to introduce the players for you guys. On the top half of the map, we have TheViper playing for the team TyRanT Legends. He will be playing as the Yellow Aztecs. Now, onto the bottom half of the map, we have RiuT playing for the team TyRanT Warlords. In this match, he will be playing as the Gray Aztecs. Today, both teams will be playing on the map Arabia, which is a very standard land map that favors offensive play due to an open landscape and steep elevation. It's very tricky to get a solid wall off here with the way that the map is set up. And especially considering that both players are playing as the Aztecs, there's going to be early aggression galore between both sides. I say this because the Aztecs, of course, do start with an additional free loom, and what this means is that they have an additional 50 gold. With 100 gold at the start, going for the standard drush, the Dark Age rest strategy, is just super duper good. By building a barracks in the early game, you're able to get out 5 militia as opposed to the general 3 with the drush, and that can be really, really huge in terms of early game aggression, because normally when you go for a drush, you have 50 gold left over from researching loom, and then you have to go mine 10 gold, and you get to make 3 militia with your 60, whereas the Aztecs can just make 5 without having to go mine anything else. Also, starting with loom means that you have a stronger early game than everyone else, because the amount of time that it takes to go research loom is the same amount of time that it takes to go make a villager, so it allows you to build quite an early game lead. However, both players here are the same civ, so neither's going to be pulling ahead due to their civ advantage, but I do expect to see the drush versus drush, and my drush senses are tingling indeed. I see that RiuT has 4 on wood, and so does TheViper. Why is that a sign that a drush might be coming? Well, of course, the barracks isn't free. It costs quite a bit of wood, 175 to be exact. So they're going to need a little bit of extra wood to get that barracks out early and start applying some pressure. TheViper here with a cheeky boar steel is going to send his scout really far forward in the early game. He can sort of estimate where RiuT is by just going, straight across to the other end of the map. You can assume that RiuT is somewhat over here and go nab this boar. He actually does manage to find it at the right time, gets it super early, finds it almost immediately, and does get to go steal that. So RiuT is going to be playing with 1 less boar, and RiuT senses that there's evil afoot, and he's going to go send his own scout forward too, and see if he can go steal a boar from TheViper to go even it out, or take his own boar back. We saw in the last game that I casted that you are able to actually body block the boar if it's being stolen, and it will leash back to where it was before. RiuT is standing in a location where he will be able to intercept the boar as it comes back in, but he is also looking around to go see if he can go nab one of TheViper's boars. Stealing a boar in the early game is seriously massive, considering how fast your villagers actually do gather meat from those huntable animals. Not only is the boar essentially a, quote, free food resource, because compared to farms, you don't have to invest wood into, building farms. You just get food from this boar, like it's basically free. But your villagers also gather food from it extremely quickly, faster than most other resources, so the wild boar huge, and it looks like RiuT is not going to be able to intercept the boar lure or find a boar of his own. He's looking around, and we're going to see if he can go spot this. He spots it right now, but I think it's too little too late. Will he be able to get in front of the boar in time? The answer is no. RiuT does not want to take the risk of running in the range of that town center and losing his scout. He doesn't even get nicked by the arrows. So this scout here, gonna be able to lure the boar successfully. And one of the things that we saw TheViper do as well is he was luring the boar in a sort of zigzaggy pattern. That way, the boar would not lose aggro. If you get too far away from the boar, it will end up leashing back if it gets out of the boar's line of sight. So, and the scout is so much faster than the wild boar, so you have to walk in a sort of zigzaggy pattern to not get too far ahead. At no surprise to anybody, here comes the barracks. I expect to see the barracks from both sides as RiuT is building his, TheViper is building his, and Again, you know, this favors the Viper because he has an extra boar. He is going to go grab his third one right now. Going to give him quite a solid early game lead. RiuT going to be scouting around. He spots the barracks. He's not surprised in the slightest. Normally, you know, when we're looking for a drush, we're going to be checking to see if there's 10 missing gold from these gold mines, because again, you need 60 gold for the 3 militia drush. But they're Aztecs, so there's going to be no gold missing here. RiuT doing some aggressive scouting. Maybe he'll poke with these vills. We'll see. But the militia are indeed coming out for both sides. They'll probably go up to 5 now. You know, if you compare the stats of a militia to a villager with loom, you'll notice that the militia don't actually win that 1v1 fight. But the drush is such a strong strategy anyway, because even though you're investing so much food and gold into those militia, you know, which will slow down your advancement times, you don't need to kill any villagers for a drush to be effective. You simply just have to get them idle, and, you know, just punching your if you get the villagers to go punch the militia, then they're not gathering resources, and they might as well be dead. And you can also force your opponent to go for some, like, quick walling. Maybe they have to go build some palisade walls, build some extra houses. All those things do put a huge drain on someone's eco and make it worthwhile. I mean, especially if you trade a militia for a villager, like, that's huge, because it's not like, you know, the militia would have been gathering food otherwise. The militia is a more disposable unit. That being said, you do want to be very conservative with your militia and try not to lose them. I was going to say, it looks like RiuT here narrowly dodges a bullet, and this wolf does not see him, but the wolf is like, nah, I see you, man, and he's going to be chasing after these militia. Now, this is somewhat bad for RiuT, as one of his militia is missing 9 HP before the inevitable 5-on-5 militia fight begins. That's pretty bad. The Viper here is going to see that there's a dead wolf body, which means that the trail of militia is not too far behind, and he's going to be able to go spot this. And we'll see how this goes. He's keeping his militia defensively stationed in his own base, though. That's something I think is very important to consider. He does see the militia coming in here, the little bit of line of sight from his buildings. And the Viper here is going to be camping on this hill. He's going to try and use his drush defensively. This is going to be sick. He's got the elevation advantage. We see that RiuT here is trying to be conscious of this and move some of his units higher up on the hill, because if you're higher on the hill, you take less damage and deal more. And it looks like the Viper is actually going to be able to clean this one up as more of his units were on the higher elevation. RiuT noticing this too late and pathing his militia and Eagle Warrior up there too late. And this is also super powerful because look at the stats in the Eagle Warrior. This dude lifts. Compared to the regular Scout Cavalry, the Eagle Warrior is just so much better. It has a larger line of sight, an extra 1 attack, an extra 5 HP. It allows the Mesoamerican civs to have a very strong early game. And this usually compensates for their, you know, sort of subpar either like late game or Castle Age, depending on what civ you're playing. It doesn't really matter in this case because it's Aztecs versus Aztecs, but, you know, going for Eagle Warriors in the Castle Age, except for some circumstances, as we've seen before, is usually frowned upon, and they don't get knights. Because the Eagle Warriors don't quite have the stats to, you know, take on the knights, and you need to make so many of them to be able to deal with crossbowmen, so they generally get outclassed. And, you know, in the late game, the elite Eagle Warriors, at least from the Aztecs, not amazing. But in this matchup, it's going to be really interesting. And that's not even going to, like, it's going to be very, very relevant what their unit choices are here, because remember what the Aztec unique unit is? That's right, no one remembers. It's actually the Jaguar Warrior. It's an anti-infantry infantry unit that we never see, ever, because, you know, people won't usually be spamming too much in the realm of infantry, but Mesoamerican civs get no cavalry. Maybe we'll see Jaguar Warriors. That'll be sick. Jaguar Warriors, the secret technology, has a good strategy with the Aztecs is, you know, to, like, get to the Imperial Age and, like, spam elite Eagle Warriors before it becomes easy enough to counter them. You know, elite Eagle Warriors very, very strong in the early Castle Age from the Aztecs, but they do lose in the late game when everybody's just spamming champions and hand cannoneers. Got a little bit of a fight going on here as the Viper's moving out with his militia, but he's going to get clobbered by these villagers with looms, so he's going to end up delaying the blacksmith and the archer range. It's not a total loss for him. He does delay this substantially, but he does lose both of those militia. I think an interesting thing to note here is the Viper decided to sack those militia just to stall RiuT rather than going for like men-at-arms and making a couple extra militia and like really committing to this. In fact, the Viper looks like he's going for a super defensive strat. I mean, we already saw that he kept his drush defensively, mostly because he knew he had this hill advantage and he'd be able to win the fight and then go offensive later, so really smart play from him here. And he's going like super duper defensive. Double archer range, gonna go up to the Castle Age, get the crossbowmen, which is what we usually see as the dominant choice from the Aztecs. Castle Age, they'll go for like crossbows. In the Imperial Age, they might go for elite eagles. But my thing is what if this game drags on? Will we see the Jaguar Warriors in response to elite Eagle Warriors? That's my dream, guys. Hopefully it'll happen this time. I'm trying to make Jaguar Warriors work for a long time. The Eagle Warrior fight, though, is certainly in favor of RiuT, as RiuT has way more HP. The Viper's going to have to run away. He's not going to be able to accomplish too much. When I compare, like, the maps between the players, I really think that the Viper here has definitely got the better bargain, mostly considering that he's got this back gold, right? Like, he has a wall-up that basically keeps all of his resources inside his own base. Like, he has access to all 3 of his gold mines, but the way that RiuT has his wall set up and the way his map is spawned is really unfortunate for RiuT, as this gold mine on the front, and this stone mine on the front, and this means that if the Viper is doing any sort of, like, heavy pressure, then RiuT is missing a lot of resources. There's no free gold mine back here. It's all in the front. So RiuT really can't afford to fall behind here, as all 3 of these resources... Maybe this is a good place to put a castle later, actually, as all 3 of these will be able to be protected by the same castle. They'll all be in range of those fire. Now, this Eagle Warrior, is he actually dead? We're going to find out, as the Viper is going to keep running. The Viper is going to go for a very standard timing attack, well executed on his part. He set up his economy that he will be able to research the crossbowman technology and the bodkinero, and he set it up so that as his crossbowmen move out, as his archers move out, they become crossbowmen, and by the time he engages, he will have crossbowmen and bodkinero, and RiuT cannot afford to take this fight because he is behind on techs. He's not going to have his crossbowman upgrade in time. He's not going to have his bodkin in time. This is really bad because he loses an archer here for free, as he can't decide, should I stay or should I go? His upgrade's not complete yet. He should not be taking this fight, but at the same time, RiuT's thought process is he's really scared. He doesn't want to lose these villagers to those crossbows. He knows he can't afford to get his villagers to stop mining gold, and he's desperate. He has to push the Viper off here. He's finally getting his techs out. He's got the crossbows. He's going to have to pull his vills off the line. He has the home field advantage too, so he'll be able to reinforce this. Really, like, RiuT's thinking, he's like, well, I don't want to take this fight, but at the same time, if I don't, then the Viper is going to zone me off my gold. So in the end, I think he kind of had to do that, which is unfortunate because he does get zoned off his gold anyway. Damned if he does, damned if he don't. RiuT not looking super duper great right now in terms of his position in the game. He is a little bit behind the Viper, as all that idle time on those vills. And he still is behind militarily. Another good snipe here. You'll notice that both players here are going to be trying to focus fire down individual crossmen rather than let their crossbowmen choose the targets on their own. And this is an important thing because, it's much better to fight 4 crossbowmen than 5 injured ones. And picking the ones that are on low HP and remembering which ones are on low HP is something that we see a lot in galley fights. And the Viper here just playing like a god. He's like, alright, that was the low HP crossman. We're going to go snipe that one. And look at this. The Viper micros so well that he has 3 crossmen on, like, literally no HP, and they're not dead yet. But RiuT, you're going to make a huge play, and you have to make plays like this when you're behind. You can't just compete with the Viper in crossbowmen here, because the Viper already has an advantage in crossbows. It's not like you're going to outproduce him at this point, right? So he has to pull out his trump card, and he pulls out the surprise skirmishers, which is one of my favorite surprises. Man, surprise skirms every game so far. This is sick. Well, not every game, but at least the last one that I saw. Oh, this is just great. The surprise skirms here. Skirms are indeed to counter 2 ranged units. They suck balls against everything else, with only 2 attack and minimum range. They are terrible against everything else except for ranged units, but this is going to be a surprise thing here. Although, again, the Viper managing to keep all of his low HP crossbows alive, and RiuT just not able to focus fire those down. He's at a 500 score deficit. Looks really bad for him, but these skirms might be the miracle that he needs, as they are the counter. See, the thing is you can't afford to compete with the Viper here in Expos once you lose a couple of your own, because you're always going to be behind in numbers, and out-microing the Viper is not something you can really bank on. So counter units are a great choice here, as it doesn't matter if he's down in numbers. He will be able to, his guys are worth more in this case, in this specific fight. A lot of perpendicular walking that these guys are doing, because they're trying to juke each other's arrow shots. If you walk perpendicular to the shots, then you do actually end up dodging them. You got a sick little micro battle here. But I think actually this will favor RiuT in the long run, and I really like this this skirmisher choice. As competing with the Viper on crossbow just would not frankly work here. The Viper though does have padded archer armor, but RiuT does not. And this is the Viper's response to these skirms. He's going to try and even it out. He's like, sure, you've got skirmishers, man. Well, my stats are better. I have more armor. I can take on your skirmishers, and it's going to be more fair now. But RiuT's response, also great. Oh, I love this. These guys playing such a clean game. Mangonel, the great equalizer. If you're behind, it's time to make a Mangonel, and he gets a pretty good shot off, does damage a couple of these crossmen, get 2 dead. This is great for RiuT. The Mangonel, always the great equalizer. RiuT here showing us what to do, how to play from behind, and the Viper here is showing us exactly how to get ahead in the first place. He's trying to do the split formation here. RiuT is to try and juke a couple of shots, but the Viper has his guys positioned in the right spot, that he is able to catch RiuT moving on the offensive, to be able to punish RiuT from splitting up his guys. We'll see how this fight goes. Another mangonel shot here, going to be avoided by the Viper. Great map awareness here. More fighting with the skirms and the crossbows, but I think the Viper is going to finally retreat, considering that RiuT does indeed have the mangonel. His army is a little bit split up, but that is A-okay. The tech advantage for the Viper with padded archer armor, so he's going to win even with the skirms thrown in here, but this mangonel is going to be something he's got to be scared of. RiuT's moving out, though, without the mangonel in tow, and that's kind of risky. He's going to lose a skirm here, trade it for a crossman. That's A-okay. And in this time, well, the Viper, you know, boom it up a little bit. He's got the second TC, and I do believe that RiuT does not have a second TC. So the Viper, again, he's demonstrating how to pull ahead, how to take a lead, use an inch that your opponent gives you, and go a mile. Ooh, 1 HP Eagle Warrior for the Viper, but he's going to get, ooh, javelin to the face. That's a painful way to go out. So yeah, the Viper here definitely showing us how to snowball a lead, but RiuT showing us how to play from behind. This Siege Workshop right here is a good choice because it's gonna box in these crossbowmen. This is exactly what RiuT needs to do. These crossmen are screwed. They're completely boxed in, and he can't escape. The Viper is pinned into this corner and punished for his greed. RiuT here with 2 mangonels is gonna mop up all of the Viper's army, and suddenly this match is on even footing. Absolutely amazing play from both sides. This match has been crazy so far. The Viper showing us how to get a lead, and RiuT masterfully pulling it back and making it even. RiuT knows he just wiped the Viper's army out, so he's going to go on the offensive and keep his 2 mangonels on the defensive, and that should be plenty to repel the Viper. The thing with the Viper is that he built his second TC before RiuT did, so he's already been pulling ahead in the villager count. I mean, we check out the population, there's a very solid, like, 8 civilian, 9 civilian, oh my god, like, wow, we're going all the way up to a... That's a 14 villager lead for the Viper. That's really substantial because he's had that extra TC for so long. But the military account is actually in favor of RiuT, so RiuT pulling it back. That's exactly what RiuT needed to do. Building the Siege Workshop here, he chose the Siege Workshop just because it's a wide building. And by building the foundation, the Viper could not walk his troops through it, and they just got stuck. And now RiuT moving on the offensive. He's going to try and even out this this villager lead that the Viper has. He's going to try and pick off a couple straggler villagers and force some idle time. However, the Viper up to 3 TCs. RiuT still only on... Okay, no, RiuT does have his 3rd TC now, so... Things should start evening up, and all RiuT needed to do was survive, and he did a lot of critical things here to allow him to survive. However, the Viper, again, really putting a lot of emphasis on the technology side of things. He has the level 2 defense upgrade for his crossmen, and that is huge in this case. This army not going to be threatening at all. It's missing padded archer armor and the other archer upgrades, so it's not really going to be able to do too much against these crossmen. The skirm's not relevant in this case when those crossmen are that tanky. Gonna lame a couple deer on the way out here. That's fine for RiuT. And it looks like we're reaching sort of a standstill. The plan for both players at this point is to boom up their ecos and see where life takes them. I'm going to speed it up a little bit as RiuT's going to be regrouping. The Viper's not really going to go on the offensive yet. The way his base is set up, he's pretty safe. He's got all these nice hills. He has his own defensive siege workshop with defensive mangonels, a very strong perimeter that he has set up here that will be hard to breach. RiuT all walled up, exploiting the natural terrain, the way the terrain is laid out, so he's being very efficient with his resources, not trying to waste too much wood by building like a less efficient wall up here. These 3 houses, a great way to make a makeshift wall off now. Since he's all closed up, that's very, very good for both sides, but again, it kind of favors the Viper just because he's already had like a 10-ish villager lead, so... I don't expect that villager lead to go anywhere unless RiuT's aggression starts really doing stuff. Now, here's a really interesting thing. The Viper decided to move out, which is a fascinating decision. Both players here are opting to trade eco damage for eco damage. They're both saying that they're going to lose some vills, and that's A-okay. However, this is a decision that favors the Viper in this case. Why? Because he has already, again, close to a 10 villager lead, so when it comes to trading vills, if they both lose 10 vills, the Viper has 10 vill lead still. And not only that, his vills are worth more in that case. He has a greater percentage of vills over his opponent. But the Viper is going to be moving his defensive mangonels in here. Ooh, and since RiuT brought those 2 mangonels with him, while this attack did take a long time to get here, he's going to force the Viper to repair that TC. He's going to spot this mangonel just in time and try and back out, but his entire army gets clobbered. RiuT loses a bunch of guys here, but he keeps the mangonel up, and ooh, the Viper not able to snipe that. Both players here with some great micro, not losing their mangonels, but RiuT lost a lot of guys here to that mangonel shot as he grouped them all into the same group. The Viper and RiuT going to be using the attack ground thing, and, you know, a lot of eco damage in favor. I mean, like, in this case, you know, it favors the Viper because he had more villagers at the start, so trading them is fine. But in terms of actual, like, damage done, RiuT brought 2 mangonels with him, and you can see that the villager gap is actually, it's closing here. RiuT bringing it back, very behind in the early game, but he's bringing it back and threatening a powerful comeback, and he might even be able to get a villager lead over the Viper. We'll see. But the Viper's crossman on the hill is going to be able to zone those out. And RiuT's able to do more damage here because he brought those 2 mangonels with him, so it's a very smart decision on his part. He's able to... Oh, and he actually cleaned up those crossmen too here from the Viper, so... RiuT with a defensive mangonel knocks out that entire army. Everyone going up to Imp here. Looks like RiuT's army will indeed get taken out. And oh no! Ooh! Looks like the Viper is going to be able to clean this up quite nicely. So both players here lose their armies, but this is actually good for RiuT in this case because RiuT was behind, and this exchange. He killed more villagers, and he wasted a lot of the Viper's wood, making him repair that TC. So bringing the 2 mangonels with him really just shows that it was like the deciding factor in that case. Oh, this game's looking mighty, mighty close. We're going up to the Imperial Age. A castle coming out here from RiuT. RiuT, my friend, what are you up to? No good, I think. Looks like the Viper going for the Eagle Warriors again, you know, pretty standard thing for the Aztecs. Elite Eagle Warriors not very strong in the post-Imperial besides like raiding, but once you get to the Imperial Age, like initially before your opponents have all their upgrades and their techs, they know chemistry and stuff, Elite Eagle Warriors can just blitzkrieg down somebody and can be a force to be reckoned with, but oh my. RiuT making me a happy commentator here, making some Jaguar Warriors, a unit that is typically not used very often, but man, is it a great answer in the Aztec mirror for sure. As it's going to be him predicting the Elite Eagle Warriors from the Viper. He's going to make some Jags. Now the Jags, they're an interesting decision here. Good raiding going on, by the way, from the Viper. He's going to force those villagers off the wood line. They're going to have to go back up. The Jags are interesting because while they do, you know, clobber these Elite Eagle Warriors, they're a lot slower. The Elite Eagle Warriors are so fast, which makes them a great raiding unit. And that means that the Viper doesn't have to take these fights. He can just run away. Still, though, game really close. This is a lot of eco damage, but RiuT does have a mangonel in position. These Jags are not actually going to be able to do too much, as the Viper is just going to go run away and avoid those, and he's going to go run all the way over this direction. Maybe he's going to try and go for a breach. I wonder if he's going to try and commit and just blow up some houses. Now, the thing here is that this castle placement, like I've said, is really good. I'm glad that he decided to actually put some castles here to go protect his, like, front resources. That's absolutely great for him, as he's able to protect all 3 of these. The Triforce of resources, he needs those. Otherwise, if the Viper controls that hill, then he literally loses. Looks like the Viper is going to try and breach these houses, but he doesn't have any of the offensive upgrades, because when it comes to melee units, you almost always go for the defense upgrades. Mostly so that they can take more shots from arrows, castles, town centers. The Jaguar Warriors here are going to be instrumental in preventing any raiding done to these villagers, as the Eagle Warriors pretty resistant to the arrows from the castle with their 4 ranged armor. But the Jags are going to be able to zone those away, and I'm not 100% sure the Viper is able to get in here, as this mangonel going to be able to zone them away. So well defended here from RiuT. He manages to defend against the Aztec Imperial Age Elite Eagle Warrior Blitz, which is a really hard strategy to survive against, but once you do, this is going to favor RiuT in the long run, as RiuT has Jaguar Warriors. So when a straight-up fight comes, and since the raiding isn't actually working, RiuT's guys are just straight-up more valuable in this case because he's got the Jags. The Viper here is still going for the pressure. He's going to try and worm a couple of his guys in there, but he's not going to be able to. Stonewall coming up from RiuT, really going to try and turtle it up. Now here's something that's great from the Viper here, as he's recognized at this point. He's seen the Jaguar Warriors. He's seen the new metagame. The Viper making a great play. He sees that this game could go on for a while. So you know what he's doing? He's working his way on that gold mine. Now, it's kind of curious that he's long-distance mining it, but he's thinking about building an actual mining camp there. He's thinking about claiming all these resources for himself, and look at this. The Viper's sending a huge train of villagers over here. He's going to try and mine all the gold on the map, all the exterior gold, so that if this game drags on too long, he'll have a huge gold advantage over RiuT. RiuT will run out of gold first. I expect that the Viper will be building a mining camp here soon, and one over here. He does have a huge group of Eagle Warriors to try and control the relics, because again, the Viper's thinking late game at this point. His Elite Eagle Warrior blitz did not work. So he manages to snipe off this monk that's looking for that relic. And I like that RiuT decided to go for that relic far away first instead of this one, just so he could get it before the Viper does. But the Viper was prepared. He's able to use those Elite Eagles to escort these villagers safely to the mining camp, make sure that RiuT doesn't see the Viper build that mining camp, and also pick off that monk. So the Viper here thinking about the late game, and he's going to really start pushing ahead if the game drags on too long. But RiuT right now has a much better army comp in this case. He's got the Jaguar Warriors, and ooh, this monk maybe walking in the wrong neighborhood might end up dying here. And the Viper's not actually able to take a straight up fight. Or is he, as the Viper's gone for a very interesting choice here. Two-handed swordsman. Presumably he'll be going into champs. Now this I am not 100% sure on. This has some merits. I mean, while the champions aren't that bad against the Jaguar Warriors, at least they're much better than Eagle Warriors, they still get owned really hard by the Jags. And really, like, now that the Elite Jaguar Warrior upgrade is researched, I mean, they got two Dura armor, 2 of that melee armor. They are strong. RiuT does spot this mining camp, so good on him to, you know, pay close attention to that. He does manage to zone the Viper off that and try and keep the Viper from snowballing too hard. These champions versus Jags, I don't really know how that's going to work out. However, the problem with Jaguar Warriors is that they have no pierce armor at all, and they just get owned by a castle, especially on a hill. So RiuT walking in the wrong neighborhood. That's not his base. He is going to pull out here before the Viper does get champions. And really, like, RiuT will be able to clean up this fight quite easily, but the Viper has crossbowmen, which is also good. There's no hand cannoneers here, so in this case, you know, crossbowmen are going to be a great choice. Again, no pierce armor on the Elite Jaguar Warriors. They get owned by Arbalists, which the Aztecs do have, and this is going to be epic. This is a really long game. This is one of the longest 1v1 Arabias I've seen in a while. But RiuT here, he's not messing around. He wants to end this game, and he's going to build like 3 trebs to try and go deal with that. Now, the Viper hasn't actually taken that relic yet. We'll see how many relics the Viper has right now. He has 1. He's going to go be grabbing the second one here. And if we check out RiuT, he is at 1 relic of his own. And he might be able to grab 1 soon. Yeah, he only has 1 relic right now. There might be another monk on the way. Either way, he's going to start moving out. And I really like the choice, though, on the Viper's part to go make the Arbalists. Arbalists a great counter to the Jags. I don't actually know why he made so many two-handed swordsmen. That's an interesting one, because there's really nothing that RiuT has that get owned by that. I mean, maybe he was just teching into them because he might need them later should they run out of gold, because Champion's very, very good against you know, pikemen, obviously. He's going into his own Jags, but again, this favors RiuT, because RiuT was way ahead of the curve. I mean, he's got Garland Wars and fully upgraded Elite Jaguar Warrior is very, very powerful for the Aztecs, because they do get an extra 4 attack. No Elite Jag. Oh, the Viper, it does have Elite Jags, but he does not have Garland Wars yet. So taking this fight, he's missing a couple upgrades, doesn't really want to. Now, I love the choice to go into Jags initially, but I love the Viper's choice even more to go for a well-balanced army comp. He's got Arbs and Jags, so he should be able to win that fight, definitely, because he's got the more balanced army comp. However, RiuT exploiting again. He knows he has Garland Wars, the Viper does, and the Viper just finished his final Blacksmith attack upgrade. The Viper doesn't want to take this fight, so he loses a castle for free from RiuT, as RiuT's got 4 trebs. It's a lot to deal with. That's a ton to deal with. And RiuT here is going to be taking out the unit production buildings. This is really bad for the Vipers. He needs Arbalists to turn this around. He needs the counter units. In the later stages of the game, when you have the money to be able to afford counter units and you're able to tech into them, you know, spamming knights in the early game works because it's really hard to tech into pikemen, but in the late game, counters are what win fights. And he has a lot of Arbs, but he's going to have to be careful not to lose all those archer ranges or he won't be able to make more Arbs. Really, really tough fight going on over here. RiuT is actually going to get clobbered by those Arbalists, and he is going to have to pull back a little bit. The Viper does able to focus fire down most of the trebuchets, get them to undeploy and back up, but a great castle placement here from RiuT. As the Viper is not able to reinforce with his own trebs quite yet. He hasn't actually made any of his own trebuchets yet, which is going to be tricky to take down this castle. The Viper is going to start, RiuT's going to start inching the line forward on the Viper, but it looks like the Viper might be trying to pull out with his Arbs. We'll see what the plan is here as the battle will resume shortly. Looks like RiuT is actually repairing his trebuchet, which is pretty cute, and he's going to start poking at those archer ranges again. The Viper really wants that gold mine. He's going to pray that RiuT actually forgot about it, but joke's on the Viper. RiuT never forgets. And he's going to be building a castle here as well, and his own mining camp to try and claim that gold, which is really important considering that the Viper has claimed this gold and has just nabbed that relic. So if we check out how many relics RiuT has, it actually looks like he only has one right now, which is pretty bad news bears, is the Viper might be able to get actually all other 4. So as the game drags on, it's going to favor the Viper in that case, as he's going to be generating a lot of gold. The Aztecs relics do generate more gold than other civs do. If you have a relic in your monastery, you generate a trickle down of gold, as we can see right here. But the Aztecs get 33% more, I believe. So that makes the relics even more valuable, especially in the late game. Spearman here from the Viper, he does actually have Garland Wars now, so he's on even tech footing, but I'd really like to see different types of units from RiuT. RiuT teching into onagers, I love this. So this is right now is like super game of chess, as both players are going to try and outpredict each other and outcounter each other, because you can't get all this tech. They're not made of money. We see here that RiuT running low on food. You can't tech into everything, and RiuT has decided that he's going for Jags and Onagers, and Onagers are going to clobber those Arbalists, just be able to eat right through an entire army of Arbalists with one shot. But the Viper here with a really, really, clever flank, he is able to take out an Onager for free before RiuT can even react. Now, once those Onagers come out, the thing here is that the Viper's army is actually a lot cheaper than RiuT's is, so if RiuT loses his army, he's screwed. However, RiuT's army is just more powerful in general. A lot of trebuchets coming out from the Viper. RiuT has to be really careful. He's losing so many Jags for free as his guys are on the split formation, and that's gonna be really bad. He's gonna be able to lose a couple of those. The Viper now on the offensive. The shoes on the other foot. Can RiuT hold this line? 3 trebuchets trebbing that castle. RiuT has to move out, and he's waiting for his slow mangonels to get in position. He's going to have to start repairing this castle, and the aggressor in this situation is usually favored, as the defender does have to repair his castle. It's really, really bad. You're going to lose a lot of stone. RiuT's going to be inching the line forward. I'm interested to see if he'll get siege engineers to the extra 1 range, but right now, his focus is on this battle. Can he get a good Onager shot on that Arbalist army, or those trebuchets? He's not able to repair fast enough. RiuT is losing ground, and it looks like the Viper will be able to actually take out that castle. Oh, but 1 trebuchet went down to a focus fire treb shot from RiuT. RiuT actually undeployed his trebs because I do not believe that they were in range of the Viper's trebuchets, so he did have to move them forward slightly, so that's really, really bad for him. And we'll see, as, RiuT has an insane amount of repairers on this castle. He's draining stone at an alarming rate. He needs to move these Onagers forward and get some stuff actually happening with them. I don't know if he'll get Siege Onager because it's such an expensive tech, but we'll see. Another Onager shot onto the Trebuchet, but the Trebuchet is going to focus fire down the Onagers here, so good control. Going to be able to pick off those Onagers. Wow! American Sniper the Viper, even though he's not actually American, is going to be able to take out a bunch of those Mangonels. 3 Mangonels down! Triple kill for the Viper. It looks like the Siege Engineer's upgrade was taken for RiuT, as he knows that that 1 range is going to be critical. Ooh, the focus fire down on the trebuchets with his own trebs is going to be able to hold this line. That's a really costly fight for RiuT. Super duper costly fight for him. Let's go check out the population. RiuT has more vills, but a smaller army. But his guy, that makes sense, because his army is just worth more in this case, because he's going for Onagers. He can't make all those pesky Arbs, and he's going to need more vills to be able to support the fact that he's going for Onagers. Now, the thing here is, though, the Viper has insane control. He's been able to take out all those Onagers and just turn them into mincemeat, and they're really not getting that much value at all. Ooh, looks like this trebuchet will go down. RiuT moving in here with that and the Onager support is going to get absolutely slaughtered, and so far the Viper has just been taking more cost-efficient fights. In terms of the whole macro side of things, I mean, the Viper has less money in the bank. Well, actually, it's pretty close. RiuT has a lot more gold in this case, though, than the Viper does. That might change over time, as there is only one, I believe only 1 relic for him. He's going to have to try and make a huge play before the game goes on super long, or he's going to have to kill this monastery, which is honestly not that far away. The Viper has a couple spearmen again, because he knows that gold is an issue, and I think it's really funny, actually, that the Viper is so low on gold. The thing, though, is that the Viper committed so hard into Arbalists that I guess that's why he's running low on gold right now, and actually... Oh god, he's actually out of that extra gold mine. Whereas RiuT still has this gold mine, so... I say that, the Viper has been a lot more efficient with these fights, and even though it seems like he has, RiuT just has more gold here, because RiuT is not making as many, I guess, Arbalists, so maybe the Viper is just spending more gold in general. Yeah, but RiuT is rich when it comes to gold, and the Viper is already running out. He might have 4 relics, but he's extremely poor. As he might have to start making pikemen or skirms or something. He's going to need more unit production facilities. Ooh, rams. This is where some of the Viper's gold income is going into. It's going into those capped rams. He's going to get the siege ram upgrade and see where life takes him from there. But the line's moving forward here from RiuT, applying great pressure. I like his decision, actually, to not get siege onager. I'm sure he's still thinking about it in the back of his mind, but we'll see if he actually does get siege onagers. I don't think he really needs it in this case. It's a huge amount of gold and food down the drain, which he could use for other units. And the watchtower that he built over here is also really cheeky, trying to zone the Viper into the corner. Now, what I would like to see from RiuT here is if he would scout around and he would notice that the Viper's got a secret base of operations over here, and send like an Eagle Warrior and just kill like some of Viper's like exterior eco, punish him a little bit. The Viper is in deep shit, but his ace in the hole is he's got a bunch of siege rams, and what the Viper really needs to do right now is build a ton more military buildings, more unit production facilities pronto. He might have a huge army, but he's going to need to replace it when it goes down, and the Viper is just losing like all of his military buildings. That's super duper bad. These trebuchets going to be taken down here by RiuT. I like the decision to make the trebuchets to go pressure that a little bit. And RiuT's moving the line forward. He's prioritizing all of the Viper's castles, although honestly, if I don't know if he knows where the... Oh, he does know where the monastery is. I'm surprised he's not poking that with the trebuchets instead. Perhaps that is the better play. Hard to tell. Because, you know, you will be able to get rid of the Viper's only trickle-down gold income. Ooh, this trebuchet getting repaired here. Cute play from the Viper. He's going to try and piss RiuT off and get him to divert a couple of his forces. But you got this huge death ball over here, and the onagers, super-duper valuable. They haven't played off too much in terms of these straight-up fights, as the Viper has been able to deal with them quite nicely. He's going to try and focus fire down those onagers, but the Viper just can't quite make it all the way. The thing with these onagers here is they're not actually getting any value. He's not actually able to hit those arbalists. He is able to go hit the jags, but onagers here not quite paying off, but the Viper just spent so much of his gold on upgrades and teching into everything, and RiuT's been really conservative with that, but he just lost this entire army to the Viper as those onagers not paying off. So while the Viper has no cash whatsoever, he is really poor. He'll be able to use the market to go sell his resources in bulk, as we go see him doing right now. He did manage to clean this up, so the ARB's paying off here, the onagers not so much. RiuT does have a lot of gold stockpiled, but the Viper did win that fight, and now RiuT has to replace his entire army. I'd like to see a lot more unit production buildings from both players here, as they don't really have enough. They're not able to replenish their armies fast enough. All the elite jag spam, I mean, they don't make fast enough from the castles. Some more archer ranges and whatnot would be a good idea here, as the Viper has, like, what, like 3 barracks left? And I don't know if he has a single archer range, actually, so... These guys are gonna have to start replacing their military building stat, and looks like RiuT has actually discovered the Viper's secret base of operations in the top right corner. He's gonna go have to deal with that. So both players here not quite able to spend all their resources. RiuT is a billionaire right now. He has a ton of money, but he's not able to spend it because he doesn't have enough military production buildings. He has a ton of castles, and he's mostly making elite jags and onagers, but he's not making anything else, so he has to wait for a while for his army to replenish, which is a weakness of his strategy. He doesn't have any stone to repair this castle, so he has to be quite careful about that one. He has to go buy some stone at the market, start repairing this, or do something about this trebuchet. The Viper here is one of the funniest plays I've ever seen in competitive AOC. He has built houses around his trebuchet, trapped 3 villagers in there too, but, you know, screw it, man. You know, those villagers were lazy anyway. They weren't doing the jobs. Gonna wall them in there, put them on timeout with his trebuchet to prevent RiuT from being able to, you know, shank that trebuchet with his villagers, so he has to send in an onager or something. Well, RiuT's death ball is replenishing slowly, but the Viper's army isn't really replenishing either, as the Viper, at least, since he's not making purely elite jags, needs to start, I don't know, building some archer rangers or something. I don't know if he plans to make more ARBs. We'll see. He boxed in those vills, not to actually put them on timeout, but to repair his trebuchet. Huh. Well, RiuT's gold income is finite, of course, at this point, and it's reaching that point where the Viper's 4 relics will allow him to actually have more money than RiuT. So while RiuT did have a huge amount of stockpiled gold throughout this game, it is going to favor the Viper now, as he does have 4 relics. Tons of cash, tons of cash. He's going to bring on... Oh, he's got 3 relics. What? Where's the last relic? I have no idea where the last relic actually... Oh, it's over... Wait, what? Why doesn't RiuT grab that? RiuT should grab this relic at some point. Maybe he hasn't seen it yet. Okay, so apparently the Viper is not able to bring on the money quite yet, as he does only have 3 relics, and RiuT only has 1, so The gold income gonna favor the Viper over time. A lot of pressure going on over here. RiuT is just not able to buy enough stone to repair all these castles. It's gonna be really, really bad. The Arbalists, you know, again, paying dividends. That army still hasn't been cleaned up here. Looks like the Viper's running out of military production buildings. Guys, more barracks, more archer ranges. We need those now. More military buildings. You can't rely on Jags all game. Now, the Jags are really, really helpful, but for the Viper, you know, he might want to make like some archer ranges or something like that at this point, just because like the gold income is running out. But as long as these guys are able to keep a reasonable pop amount, and they both are, they should be fine. I'm just concerned because they're all running out of castles. I mean, the Viper has like what, 1 castle left? He has 2 castles left. He has a castle protecting those farmers over here, but he only has like 2 castles left. RiuT has more, but he just lost 1. So that means the Viper is able to replenish his army extremely slowly. He threw in a couple pikemen because he knows that he needs to spend his cash. But he's going to need something to be able to take on RiuT here. RiuT moving the line forward yet again. These onagers really, like, they don't really seem to be doing anything, I guess, except, like, he was able to, I guess, trade more efficiently with the Arbs and take out, like, groups and clumps of the Jags. They don't seem to be doing that much because the Viper's doing such a good job handling them and picking them off, but you know, RiuT was able to stockpile so much gold anyway, so we'll see how much they do here. Both players here completely even in population. What a crazy, crazy game. But the Viper is going to make more military buildings. He's going into the pikemen. We've done it, guys. It finally happened. We've reached the late game trash war, which is what I like to start 35 minutes in the game, because I'm weird. Pikeman coming out here from the Viper as he's got to be conservative with his gold. He's trying to save it for the Jaguar warriors. He has a shitload of food, though. He might want to sell that at the market, maybe. We'll see, we'll see. So yeah, the Viper trying to be a little bit conservative with his gold. I expect to see some trash units, units that don't cost gold coming out from RiuT. Good, okay, good. He's putting down some archer ranges. Some skirms or arbs are on the way for sure. More military production buildings finally coming as the pressure is on, but the Viper has the hill here. Good castle placement. Will be able to make it take less damage from the trebuchets. But RiuT is going to keep the pressure on, and the Viper has to repair this, but he won't be able to repair it for too long as he is out of cash. He has no money. He won't be able to buy any, actually he can't afford to buy any more stone, so he's actually run out of stuff to repair that castle with, so that's really bad. The Viper's gonna have to commit to this. He did make like a monk, which might pay off here, healing some of the guys. That might actually be the monk that he used to get those relics. We'll see. The Viper, though, trying to be cool like RiuT is, and he's gonna get it on that onager game, make some of his own mangonels, but he'll never be able to get that onager upgrade because he's got no gold anymore. So he's stuck with just crappy old mangonels, and ooh, some repairing going on here, but the mangonel versus onager fight, it's only the siege onagers that really do live those hits quite efficiently, so yeah, the Viper actually gets cleaned up. Ooh, this is really bad for the Viper here, as the Viper might have a bunch of pikemen over here, but they're not really doing anything. I mean, he managed to, you know, clean out RiuT from those farms, but like the elephant in the room is still all these Jaguar warriors that he has to deal with. Like these Arbs, this control group of Arbs that the Viper has kept alive this entire game is doing some serious work, but he needs to like sell some resources pronto, make like a ton of archer ranges and barracks or something. I mean, the Viper's doing it now, but it might be too little too late. What I would love to see is if RiuT could just take those trebs and just take out the Viper's last gold income. Oh my goodness, the last thing that the Viper has that's keeping him in this game are these relics. If he could just move those trebs up, and it looks like RiuT is going to be doing that. Now, all those pikemen over here, gonna get in a sissy fight with a couple Jaguar warriors. We'll see exactly how efficient the Jags are in this case. But yeah, oh yeah, RiuT. Oh, he knows what's up. He's got this. Wow, RiuT playing so well. He's heard my words. He's decided to build tons of buildings, and he's going to start spamming trash units, because again, he's trying to conserve his gold for the more valuable resources. He's thinking about the late game, saving his gold for the trebuchets and the Jaguar warriors, and he's going to move in his army of terrible units that are going to be throwing toothpicks at people. But they don't cost gold, so it's okay, and you might as well use up all your population. He's got double the army of the Vipers. The Viper's not able to replace his army in time. The Viper, like, needs more military production buildings to take this on, and he started making mangonels, which was a good idea, because they're the great equalizer when you're behind in the military population. But it might be too little too late, as the Viper is running out of arbalists that he's had for approximately 30 years. Goes to show how well the Viper can micro if he keeps a control group of arbalists alive for, like, 40 minutes. However, they are going to finally run out as RiuT here macroing like a god, and he's going to make so many military production buildings and just spam those trash units. The Viper needs military production buildings. He is rich. He can't spend the money. He has 5,000 food. His eco falling apart. Another problem here is that RiuT's got map control, and another reason that the Viper was trying to protect this area with the pikemen and the two-handed swords was because he needs to get map control so he can go chop some wood, because there's no wood for him to chop in his own base. Very, very little. His eco is just in shambles, and it's going to take a miracle for the Viper to come back at this point as he's running to castles. So RiuT's slow and methodical approach, take out all the castles, is proven to... Actually, he's going to win the game, I think. Oh my god. He took out the monastery. The Viper has no more gold income. Another reason the Viper did this is because he wants to get into RiuT's eco and start raiding with these two-handed swordsmen and those pikemen. We'll see if it pays off. He is actually going to exploit the minimum range of the Onager and take it out. Oh my god. Still, though, the Viper has no answer at all to this army. He's trying to put a band-aid on a bullet wound at this point, as these trebuchets going to go snipe off the enemy trebuchets from the Viper. Wow, RiuT's going to take this game. The last game of war is coming. Goes to TyRanT Warlords, I think, unless the Viper can pull a miracle, but I think that this game actually goes to TyRanT Warlords. I'm not going to spoil how the rest of the games in the actual tournament went. I mean, you can check the video description to go see the scores, but wow, what a great way to go end the tournament for TyRanT Warlords, as the Viper is in deep, deep trouble right now. He's really got nothing left. Like, he doesn't have enough production facilities to keep up with the army. I mean, now he does. Like, he just built like a ton of archer ranges, and he's going to try and be able to compete with this, but he has no way to equalize this. This is a fair fight between these two, but it favors RiuT because he's got a tiny trickle down of gold income. He still hasn't got this one relic though, but you know, we'll let it slide. You know, these guys are insanely good at Aoe. We can't nitpick all day, but he's got, you know, a huge army of skirms, a huge army of pikes, and when, you know, it's skirms versus pikes fight, if you have a couple more, really, like, the Viper needs something to equalize this, and he has no gold income. Like, he'll need like a mangonel to even out that numbers advantage. I mean, I called it like for TyRanT Warlords, but the Viper's still fighting back. He still has a shitload of food, nothing else. But the pop lead is in favor of RiuT. I think this is just going to be a slow and steady death for the Viper. There's a hill advantage here from RiuT. The Viper's taking this fight out of desperation. Can he do it? The answer is no, as RiuT is going to be stealing all of the Viper's relics rather than taking the one in the back of his base. Epic BM here for RiuT. Is going to go jack his opponent's relics rather than go take his own. And the Viper not going to be able to win this fight. Like, the Viper, like, no matter how good his micro is just not going to be able to keep up with this numbers disadvantage here. Like, there's nothing he can do about the fact that RiuT has 50 more military units. It's looking really, really rough. As RiuT going to move in over here and take out the Viper's ace in the hole, trying to do some raiding. The Viper tried to do two things to make his to try and come back in this game in the late game. Tried to make some mangonels, he tried to do some raiding. They both failed, as RiuT is just on top of his game. The Viper had him in the early game, but RiuT just going to show how to play from behind and make a comeback, and my goodness, he did. This is one of the best games of competitive Aoe2 I've ever seen. What a absolute pleasure to watch, as Viper here not going to give up, as there's money on the line, his honor on the line. He's gotta clinch this game, make this series really go heavily in favor of TyRanT Legends. Can he do it? Well, RiuT's just going to slowly inch the line forward, and again, the Viper just has no gold income here. It's just going to be a slow and steady death for him. RiuT again with the Ultra BM, going to start building a lumber camp, pretend to be one of the Viper's lumber camps, and move in here, hopefully unnoticed. Skirmisher fight, one of my favorite things to do, and the Viper is going to finally call it game. Wow, what a crazy, crazy match between these two players. It was so close up until like the very, very end when RiuT decided, screw it, we're making trash units, and he just made like 50,000 archer ranges, and you know, it seemed throughout the entire game, I thought that the Viper was being more efficient with his units, but I mean, RiuT just like, and like the Viper had extra relics. I assume that the Viper would have the gold lead, but I guess the Viper just spent so much cash on other things. Like, he spent so much on the Arbalest that really, like, comparatively, the amount of gold that RiuT invested in these Onagers, I guess, was actually less than the Viper invested. Like, the Viper, like, also, like, teched all the way up to two-handed swordsman, which we never saw from RiuT. RiuT never bothered upgrading his militia at all. He was just really, really, really conservative with his gold, and the Viper's gold went somewhere else, and the fact that RiuT had all that extra gold stockpiled allowed him to eventually come out on top of the Viper. He was able to apply so much early aggression that the Jaguar Warrior choice in the early Imperial Age was rock solid. Wow, what a great battle of the minds here, as both players trying to out-counter each other, but RiuT just barely comes out on top in the end. What a close game. It was really hard to tell who was going to actually clinch this game out until the last few minutes. Let's go check out the achievements, guys. What a fitting way to go end the tournament with one of the best games I've ever seen. Absolutely amazing game. Wow, so close. Look at the units killed and units lost. This is a 1v1. Absolutely insane. 1,000 units. Oh my god, 1,000 units killed and 1,000 units lost in this game. Total. Ridiculous. 38 buildings lost. The Viper, though, does end up winning where it really counts, guys. The 1 unit converted. That's all that really matters here. See yeah, so the Viper actually did, yeah, he had more in gold gathered overall, but RiuT was just spending his more efficiently. That's really, really interesting to go look at. As the Viper had like his tiny, negligible amount of extra gold collected total. Again, that's mostly from the relics, but RiuT just had so much more stockpiled. And we can see that he had more food and wood collected towards the very end, mostly because the Viper was losing his eco, but also RiuT had a couple extra... RiuT actually had about 20 extra vills at a point, because he was going for honors and he needed all that extra cash. Research count actually equivalent. We can see, though, that the Viper was just ahead in the early game. Like, he was just always like a minute ahead. Like 30 seconds to a minute ahead of RiuT when it comes to age advancing, and this game was super duper close. I mean, to show you how evenly matched these two players are and how close this game was, the villager high is literally off by 1. RiuT had an extra castle, though, because he had an extra little clump of stone. And yeah, the Vipers generated all that extra gold income, but it wasn't enough. Wow. I did not see that coming at all! We can see here that this is when RiuT lost his entire army, and he's just like, crap, guys, I only have castles and siege workshops. It's going to be a while. And he's just like, all right, give me a couple of minutes as I replenish my army. And the Viper's like, okay, well, I have to go do that too. And then they get straight back in the action here. You see that huge dip where the Viper won that battle pretty decisively. Wow, what a nuts game. So very close. Differences in playstyles here. The Jaguar Warriors in response to the Elite Eagle Warriors was pretty good. I mean, another thing here is, I guess, a lot of gold was, again, saved for RiuT because the Viper also teched into Elite Eagle Warriors, and he teched into Two-Handed Swordsmen, but those didn't really get to do too much. Whereas RiuT was, like, super conservative with his cash. Like, sure, he lost a lot of battles to the Viper, but, like, it was all in the name of the late game. Like, RiuT was thinking way, way far ahead, and he knew that he could afford to take those trades. Because he had all that extra gold stockpiled. He saved so much gold there. Like, Elite Eagle Warriors, like 800 gold, and yeah, RiuT gets to keep that 800 gold. He doesn't get the Men-at-Arms, the Long Swordsman, the Two-Handed Swordsman. He gets to save like another like 500 gold. Fantastic. Thinking about the long con. What a fantastic game of Age of Empires 2. I'm incredibly pleased. Like, I really could not have asked for a better final game of War is Coming for first place than the Viper versus RiuT, TyRanT Warlords versus TyRanT Legends. Two crazy good Age of Empires 2 teams that need no introduction, playing one of the highest skill games I've seen in a long time. Top quality game. Now, I don't really want to spoil the results of all the other matches in case you guys, go and watch them. I'm sure that some of you are indeed curious about the final scores of this tournament. If you scroll like all the way to the bottom of the video description, I'm gonna have like a spoiler line that's like, warning, spoilers below here. You can find the scores. You can find them on AOC Zone. As I don't want to spoil all of them, especially if I go back and I cast a couple of those matches. But this series was close. Between the 36 games between TyRanT Legends and TyRanT Warlords was pretty close. But obviously, I'll say it now. So spoiler alert. You can turn off the video if you don't want to know who ended up winning War is Coming, who gets first place, but it is actually TyRanT Legends did end up winning a couple more games than TyRanT Warlords. They did end up winning basically all the series, some of them closer than others. It's still very, very close. These two teams very evenly matched, so congratulations to TyRanT Legends, of course, for clinching this tournament, even though, they did play all the games in the best of 9, even though they were all best of 9. It's 4 different best of 9 series, guys, and they played all the games in the best of 9, even after Legends did already, like, clinch the series, so this is more of a for fun game, and what a fun way to go end the tournament. So seriously, congratulations to all the teams that participated in this tournament, who provided us with such amazing games. Everyone played super well. The skill caliber here was really high. And thank you so much to Voobly, AOC Zone, the TyRanT sponsor, the World Series of Video Games, for sponsoring, setting up, and managing such a great tournament. Like, the Voobly staff worked so hard on this, and it really shows. Like, this is one of the coolest tournaments that Aoe2 has ever had, with an insane prize pool of 120K US dollars. That's insane. This tournament was great. I look forward to seeing where the Aoe2 competitive scene goes in the future, because it's always looking promising and brighter every single day. and this is one of the coolest matches I've ever seen. If you guys enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to leave me a like rating if you enjoyed it. I really appreciate it. It helps with the exposure. In the video description, I have all sorts of links to other games that I've casted or just games that I've played in general. If you like this video, you'll probably like all the rest of the stuff on my YouTube channel. Plenty of other Aoe2 videos and videos of other games. I also do live stream weekly, so I'd love to have you there if you want to play with or against me, if you want me to commentate on your matches and whatnot. Those are always really, really fun. And yeah, more interesting stuff on the way soon. Thank you for your support as always. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'll see you all in the next video. Yeah, GG, well played. TyRanT Legends and TyRanT Warlords. The Viper and RiuT played a absolutely fantastic game today, and yeah, it was a great tournament. Hope you all enjoyed this one. See you all next time. GG, well played.